Hi kids, I'm Nelson Mandela. I'm one of the renowned personalities in the world. I was an ordinary man who became a leader because of extraordinary circumstances. Did you know that I spent many years of my life fighting against white minority for my people in South Africa, that I almost spent 27 years in jail? I eventually went on to become the country's first black president. For many South Africans, I was known as Madiba, my traditional clan name, while others call me Tata, the word for father in my Xhosa tribe. So kids, follow me on my life journey. I was born on July 18, 1918 in Mwizo village and was named Roli Lala. I then started my primary school in Kunu, where my teacher gave me the name Nelson and I became known as Nelson Mandela. In 1930, when I was around 12 years old, my father died and I had to step into an important role. I later completed schooling from Wesleyan Secondary School. Soon after, I joined University of Fort Hare to study law. At this time, I joined various protests as a student, so I couldn't complete my degree. I later moved to Johannesburg in 1941 and ran many campaigns for black rights. I then married Evelyn Masse in 1944. I also had a great interest in boxing then, because one thing about boxing was in the ring, rank, age, color, or wealth is irrelevant. I did not enjoy the violence of boxing, but was intrigued by the movements, protecting oneself, and the strategy to attack and retreat. I was also interested in the training rather than the real fighting, as it was a great outlet for my tension and stress. In 1948, African National Congress Party was introduced to reduce apartheid in South Africa. Apartheid was a set of laws and policies that enforced racial segregation, that is, dividing people based on their race. I was also inspired by Mahatma Gandhi and his philosophy of truth, force, and non-violence. In 1952, I became the deputy president of the political party and focused on non-violent protests such as strikes and public protests. However, the government struck back by imprisoning the protesters and imposing sanctions. At the same time, in 1952, I and my friend Oliver Tambo established the first South African law firm in Johannesburg. It was the first black-owned attorney firm and the only firm with black lawyers in South Africa. It was around this time I fell in love with Nomzamo Winifred Madikizela and married her in 1958. We had 2 beautiful children together. She also became as much an activist as me. In 1916, one of the protests in Sherpaville, the police opened fire on all the protesters and left many killed and injured. I wondered if non-violence was the way forward. So in 1961, I established an armed wing of the African National Congress Party. It was known as the Umkhonto weSizwe, Spear of the Nation. I knew I was going to be prisoned soon, as everyone thought I was working against the government. So I became a fugitive and traveled secretly to many places looking for opportunities to seek finance, weapons, and support. I was nicknamed the Black Pimpernel in newspapers. In 1962, I was arrested and convicted for charges relating to overthrowing the government. I was then sentenced to life imprisonment and remained in jail for 27 years. During my trial in 1964, I gave my famous "I'm prepared to die" speech. During my time in prison, I also wrote my autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom, which was later published in 1994. During this time, global opposition to apartheid was rising and South Africa was facing economic sanctions. Many people around the world started supporting my fight for equality. I became an international symbol of hope in the global struggle for racial equality. The government then engaged in a peaceful talk with me, and my vision was just an inclusive place with no racial injustice or white supremacy. In 1990, I was finally released from prison unconditionally. During my speech upon release from prison, I said, "We have waited too long for our freedom. We can no longer wait. Now is the time to intensify the struggle on all fronts. To relax our efforts now would be a mistake which generations to come will not be able to forgive." In 1994, South Africa held its first democratic elections and I was elected president. I led a successful administration. I helped poverty, prevented economic downfall, and changed constitution to improve civil rights for everyone. I was an iconic figure in the world of sports, especially boxing, rugby, and soccer. It is more powerful than government in breaking down racial barriers. I also played a main role in the Rugby World Cup 1995. I always felt that sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. I was instrumental in bringing the FIFA World Cup 2010 to South Africa. Although sport is mainly about competition, I prove sport can also be about peace, reconciliation, and bringing people together. I used sport to build a nation. I and former President Frederick Willem de Klerk were jointly awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993 for our efforts to bring about a democratic, non-racial South Africa. In 1998, I married Graca Machel. In 1999, I retired as president and devoted my life to philanthropy. At the same time, I also founded the Nelson Mandela Foundation. It focuses on contributing to society issues and carrying my legacy forward. Nelson Mandela Day is celebrated on 18th of July every year in my honor for everyone to reflect on my values and create a positive impact in the community. I died at the age of 95, and at one of my last public appearances, I said I would like to be remembered not as anyone unique or special, but as part of a great team that has struggled for many years, for decades, and even centuries. The greatest glory of living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time you fall. So kids, remember, never give up hope in any situation. Think positive always so you feel and behave positively. Rise up and move forward when you fall. Love, respect, and treat people around you well. Accept and embrace change that comes your way. If you like our videos, please like, subscribe, and share to Kids Light Up. Bye-bye!